Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to my show, High Road to Humanity. In every episode, I tell you powerful true stories filled with great wisdom that you can use in your own life as you strive for a higher road to travel. My featured guests will have their own unique stories to tell that enlighten your mind and your soul. So kick back, relax, and learn the secret to success when you take the high road.
First touch, strong connection, it lays deep in your soul.
Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. And guess who's here? Maureen J. St Germain is with us today, and welcome back to High Road to Humanity, Maureen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so excited. If you guys do not know who Maureen is, she has over 25 years of experience in the area of mystical and sacred traditions, known as the practical mystic. Maureen is a prolific teacher and a facilitator of spiritual knowledge for contemporary life. So as a clear channel from source, she's continuously researching, developing, and introducing new methods that will help you connect with your own wisdom channel and inspire your spiritual awakening. Now, Maureen has personal connections with the angels, ascended masters, Hathors, divine feminine, and the dragons. She also has a lifelong interest in the Akashic records. She's just has so much knowledge, you guys. I'm so glad she's here today to talk with us. But before I bring her on, I've got some stuff I want to talk about real quick that was on the headlines today. And this comes from Fox. And this says, Chicago to follow Illinois in lifting mask order by month's end. This is very encouraging. So Chicago will follow the state in lifting face mask requirements for many indoor spaces next week, Mayor Lori Lightfoot said Tuesday. And she said the following COVID cases continue to trend in the right direction. Well, no kidding. So it looks like, you guys, slowly this mandate is going to be lifted. Maureen, do you want to say anything about that?
I am so grateful to hear this news.
Yeah, no kidding, right? This has been going on for like...
It's very interesting. You know, the whole thing about 5D is very tricky because while we want to be on the side of information, we also want to know about these things, but step back and not be in polarity. You know, It's the role we have to play is like the grandma and the grandkids. You see the grandkids do stuff they're not supposed to, but you keep your mouth shut.
I know. That's the hardest thing in the world to do.
Yeah. And so that's what we're doing as 5Ders. We're looking around, we're seeing stuff going on, and we may have opinions at the personality level, but we let them go. We just say, no, not for me.
For me, can't do it. Well, this is something I think we should all speak up about. There's one more headline I'm going to read today before I bring you on, and it's the latest on the Ukraine-Russia crisis. It says 80% of Russian forces at Ukraine's border are in the forward positions ready to go, U.S. defense officials say. And we're recording this on Wednesday. It says 80% of Russian forces amassed on Ukraine's border. They're in what we would consider forward positions ready to go, a senior defense official told reporters doing an off-camera briefing at the Pentagon on Wednesday. And the reason I'm bringing this up is, you know, I'm so against us going over there and getting into this mess. And
okay, so I'm going to cut you off and say that I was told by my guides, this came up in another show, and I was asked, and my guides, without my having thought about it, my guide said, this is all theater.
Yep.
This is going on over here so that you won't look over here. That's number one. So theater means there's nothing real happening.
So we don't need to worry about the people in Ukraine.
And number two, if you are worried, go download my free guided meditation called Divine Government Meditation. It's free on SoundCloud and it's free on my website. Just, you know, and that is the solution that every one of us can participate in because it allows us to remain at 5D. It calls in the guidance for every world leader at every level, all the way from the top down to the guy you have to report to at your job.
I love it.
It's awesome. It's a totally awesome guided meditation. And I had it out there for years, since before the contentious election, when I was really worried about stuff. And now I don't worry about any of it because my guide said it's all theater. Don't get into it.
smoke and mirrors, and it's to distract us from what's really going on with humanity.
Indeed.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad you brought that
And
to our
for
attention.
sure that whole thing will not happen. It's all to work people's emotional reactions.
I understand. To
Mhm.
lower our vibration.
Indeed.
Ah, I see. Hey, Maureen's going to be, there's a couple things I have to talk. I have to toot your horn here. A couple things. Maureen's going to be at the Sedona Ascension Retreat in Sedona, March 18th through the 20th. It is sold out, she told me today. This is put together by Suzanne Ross, and I'm really excited about that. But we've got some more exciting news. Maureen has a new school. It's the Ascension Institute. It is opening up, grand opening March the 3rd. Maureen, this is a big deal. Talk about this.
Well, we have two programs. We have a program called the Ascension Institute, which is an annual program. And very recently, since I wrote you, we decided to use the name St. Germain Mystery School. It's because we didn't want to confuse people. And the Ascension Institute training program is a year-long commitment, and it's a major opportunity for people who really want to, take a big leap. But the mystery school, the St. Germain Mystery School, is going to host other teachers. It's going to host other opportunities, and we're moving online first. And the idea is that we will eventually have a physical location. So I'm excited.
Exciting.
There's a great story behind this. When I was still traveling back and forth between China and here, I had been interviewed by a Chinese businesswoman from Australia, and she had shown up at my class in China, even though she's from Australia. And I didn't know that she was vetting me, but she was. And later she came back to me and said, my guides told me to tell you to start the mystery school in Sedona. That was not on my bucket list. And
Wow.
then she said, they told me to give you a sum of money. Now, it wasn't like $1 million, but it was enough to buy a nice car, which means I paid attention and I set that money aside when she sent
Oh my
it.
gosh, I didn't. Oh my gosh, Maureen, how wonderful. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's amazing.
Awesome, right?
Yes.
So, Suzanne invited me to her event a couple of years ago that we held outside while COVID was still going on and people were worried. So we just held the event outside, which was awesome. And then, I used that opportunity to look at property, and I found the perfect property, and it didn't work. And so I spent 6 months fooling around with that. And finally, while we were in Egypt with a group, we got word that somebody else optioned a property. So we unhooked from that. And then I found the property I'm in. And boy, it was just like dominoes, boom, 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 boom. And even I didn't know how big this would be. So I'm still looking around going, whoa. One of the first classes we're offering is a class on clearing entities and energies, which is going to be amazing. So we have a wonderful teacher that I've been working with for 15 years, and he'll be leading the class, and I'm going to be in attendance.
So so the classes start March 3rd. Is that right?
Well, the magic day that we're announcing it to the world is March 3rd.
Okay. When do classes start and how do people sign up?
Well, the first class that we're offering is going to, let's see, I'll tell you when it's going to start. It's going to start.
This is big, Maureen.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. This is wow. This is the mystery school. I've always
so the first class is March 12th.
Okay.
And that's understanding what's going on with entities and abnormal energies and what's it all about. And then there's going to be level 2 weeks later on the 26th of March. And that's what to do about all this. So we're excited about that. And I have wanted this class to be offered for a very long time. And I'm going to kind of, browbeating the guy who's been doing this. We have a team of people who do clearing work for others. Initially, in the early years, I did it. And over time, you know how that is. You recognize that there are people that's all they do. And because I began working with them, it became very apparent to me that I needed to stay focused on the teaching that I do and let these people do what they do. So we have a wonderful group that's going to be in attendance. The class is still open for people to attend. You have to do level 1 in order to do level 2. And so that's the first class that's going to be coming.
Gosh, Maureen, I may take it because I have someone clear for me, like you do, because you're the one that said, and I'll just tell the audience this, I always tell them what's happening, but you told me a couple of years ago, somebody to clear for me, but I would like to be able to do it myself.
Mhm.
So I would.
Well, and I have a YouTube video that teaches people how to clear for yourself.
Nice.
And I do that for myself a lot. But then there's days that I either don't feel like it, or I feel like I'm not cutting through. And so then I want to have somebody with the big guns. It's like this. You can clean a spot on your carpet, but at some point you're looking around going, this carpet needs professional cleaning.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're right. Right.
So that's kind of what it's like. We can all do this a little bit for ourselves. And on a regular basis, I highly recommend that we do it for ourselves. So.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, this is very exciting. Now, you also have another class that I find fascinating, remote viewing class. And you say that's going on right now. Is that correct?
I'm excited about this class.
Okay.
I am co-teaching it with a man by the name of Tom Dongo. And he's considered one of the premier remote viewers in the world, really. He's on the radio all over the world. And he has many, many skills. And I met him at a dinner party one night, after I moved here.
Mhm.
And, it was just an amazing connection. And we had him over for dinner one day, and he said something about one of his buddies was going to teach a remote viewing class with him, but then the guy's old and he, problems. And I said, well, I've got one on the books. Why don't you join me and we'll do it together? And so that's what we're doing. And it's very, very cool. And he said publicly on his Facebook channel that I compared with the very best that he's worked with.
I believe that. Maureen. So when is the next remote viewing class? When is that?
I don't know, but what's happening is we're building awareness for this kind of thing. And one of the things that I have found is that I have, what's the word I want? It's like I know what I'm doing. It's like I've done this before. And he could see that. And I didn't realize how this was
like in another lifetime. You've done this before. You've done this work before.
Or maybe I've been part of the 20-year and back program. There's all kinds of wacky stuff going on for me that I'm not talking about. But I'll tell you later.
Okay.
And I'll tell our audience sometime in the future, but I am aware of the 20-year and back program. Some of you are as well. I'm not an expert on it, but I believe I have participated in it, and that's why my skill set in this area is much better than average.
So this is something where, what is the 20, and we've got a couple of minutes before we go to commercial break. Tell the audience what this is. What is it?
Well, there are people that talk about the fact that they have been pulled out of this reality and they go to 20 years somewhere else off planet. And then they're put, the time travel has put them right back in where they left off. So if you were in the bathroom in the high school, when you got pulled out, when you came back, you'd land right back in the bathroom.
How do people know? They remember?
They have wacky things happen. One of the more well-known people is a man by the name of Corey Good, and he tells the story that he needed eye surgery. And the eye doctor said to him, you are way too young to have this kind of a problem with your eyes. He said, you've got astronaut's eyes. And then they put him under for the surgery that they had to do for a detached retina. And he began talking. So they bury the memories in places that you aren't likely to find them. I don't think they can remove them, but they found a way to reroute them. And what happened is he started talking. And then when he came out, the nurse said, boy, you had some big stories. And she starts to tell him, and boom, it just flipped a switch.
He remembered. Oh my God. Hey, we got to go to commercial break.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of other people out there now talking about their time. And, there are cases where we know memories have been implanted. And I'll talk about that after your break.
All right. Sounds good. You guys, I'm here today with Maureen St Germain. This is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we'll be right back. Yearout, and this is High Road to Humanity. And I'm here today with Maureen St Germain, and we're having a really great conversation. Maureen, you were talking about false memories. Continue on, please.
Well, there's been a lot of stories about ET abductions. Now, I do not consider myself an abductee or anything like that. But what I was told by my guides, I don't know, more than 20 years ago, that everything that happened after 1996 was a memory implant, and that the ETs were banned from doing any kind of abductions, but it wasn't outlawed, that they could still put in memories. So a person might come forward and say, I was abducted, here's my memory that's come forward, blah, blah, blah. But it would all be fake because it was a memory that was implanted, not a real event.
Why would they do that? What was the reasoning behind that?
Fear. Fear is a great source of loosh and of...
Oh my gosh, that's why. Even though we know that they were underneath the ground here, because I know they have tunnels and they've got all these, places.
Yeah, well, the underground tunnels, I don't think we might have used ET technology to build them, and there may be ET bases, but there are way more bases that have been built by humans than there are of ET bases. And again, there's all these, I'll say, regs or rules that have come out that essentially say that certain things are no longer permissible. It's just like, it's not permissible to remember in the beginning when we were talking about entities and things like that,
Right.
It's no longer permissible for those beings to be here. So when they're here, they're against the rules. Now, someone might say, well, if it's against the rules, how can they be here? And the answer is the same reason that you and I can speed on the freeway. Just because where there's a rule that says you can't do it doesn't mean you won't do it. It means you're not allowed, and you have to get caught. And if we had zero tolerance, then they, take away your car and your license. But that's not what we have right now. So we're still cleaning house, so to speak. And once we clean house of all that stuff, then it's going to be so much easier for everyone to be at their optimal, because right now people are so caught up in the drama, and it is the drama that's feeding all these other energies that are kind of living off of us.
Right. Now, when do you think, Maureen, that they're going to come out and say that, yes, there are extraterrestrials. Yes, they are among us. They've been among us. The government has held this information for so many years, and the public pretty much knows. But do you see it finally coming out where, or what do you see? What do you think?
I think it will come out, but I don't think it's going to come out nearly the way everyone would like. I think it's going to be like a drip. Because we're getting that now. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So part of it is, as you say, practically everybody knows that there's ETs, or they believe it's possible, and they've done surveys, and you see the AP survey that 75% of the population believes that they're ETs, but nobody's got any data that they can. Let's put it this way: the official resources are not giving up the data they have. Let's put it that way. So we're kind of, playing a little game of cat and mouse. And it's a little bit like sex education. If you don't tell your kids, they're going to find out sooner or later.
So you think it's just going to happen because it's just inevitable, and that's how it's going to happen. It's not like the government is ever going to be honest, or any governments throughout the world.
No, I do think they're going to be honest.
You do?
Happen. Okay. But I don't know. I can't say that I know when that's going to happen, but I have every reason to believe that everything will shift enough that we will be able to trust our government again. Let's put it that way.
You think things will change? And time-wise, what do you think? Next couple years, next 5 years, next 10 years? What are we talking here?
A long time.
Oh my God. That's a sad
certainly in our lifetimes, but in
our lifetimes,
we're halfway through a 40-year cycle. So every little thing that happens is going to make a difference. And what we want to realize is that the more we hold the truth, that what we believe in, without making anyone else bad or wrong, to say to someone, I champion your right to hold that belief as long as it pleases you, is very powerful, because it gives them room to change their mind, but it also makes them right in the moment. So you remove the opposition. There's no clash anymore. You're saying, look, hold that belief. I'm going to stand over here and hold this belief. And if you want to change, great. If I need to change, I'll change. But there's no need to clash. And
Judgment, no judgment. Yeah.
Right now, what's happening is we are being encouraged to focus on our differences instead of focusing on our similarities. And as we evolve as a species, I believe that we're going to be able to be aware of our differences and honor them. Honor.
Yeah, I have to say something to you, and I don't know, this comes to mind just because it's been bothering me. I keep seeing on the news when I do watch it to find out what's going on. There's a catch-22. You have to be informed of what's happening. You can't take it all on. But I see so much of this racial tension, and it drives me nuts, because you're exactly right. They're trying to divide and conquer. And the thing is, we're all souls in these bodies. And I don't care. I mean, I'm not trying to diminish our body by any means, but I'm saying we're souls inside these costumes. People don't like it sometimes when I say costumes, because,
I like it.
The divine, but the thing is, we are, and it doesn't matter what color I am. It's still Nancy.
Here's what I think. I think that is playing up those divides. I don't think they are real.
Yeah, no, they're not. Well, you think the media is. Yeah, I agree with you. No, I agree with you. I think it's all baloney. Yes.
So what that really means is that there is certainly some cultural divide that is occurring, especially in certain parts of our country. No question. At the same time, most places have moved beyond it.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a bigger divide between the haves and the have-not than there is between people of color.
Well, the thing is, the people who have want more.
Everybody wants more.
No, everybody doesn't want, and that's, I've learned. Yeah, no, they don't. I've gotten to that point. Isn't it funny?
It's awesome. Mm-hmm.
Well, but when you move, I moved about a year or two ago. And when you move, you just moved recently too. And you start to realize how much stuff you have that you don't really need. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, I like nice things just like everybody else, but gosh, I think we all need to downsize a bit. Just because we don't need so much stuff. You know what I mean, Maureen? I mean, it's just gotten to be where I want to be comfortable, and yes, I like nice things, but it's not the most important thing.
It's all true. It's all true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went down from, a big house to half that size. And then from a house that was maybe 1,200 square feet or 1,500 square feet down to a 9,000 square feet apartment. And that was like a real culture shock. So, but you do it and you let everything go, it's okay.
That's not the most important thing. I think if people could start to realize that, people pilfering in the stores and taking things, looking for the material items, but those don't bring us happiness. And when do you think we'll get to a point where people start to realize that?
I think there is a very good portion of the population that already knows that. And I think as our population ages, we become even more aware of it, because we're looking around going, well, I don't need that anymore, and I don't need that. So it's easier to let go. Mm-hmm. And then if you move into a smaller space, you find the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I think we're all becoming more aware that the most important thing is our connection to one another and our connection to source. Exactly. And everything else is secondary.
I feel like the number one thing in my life is God. Source, divine, whatever you want to say. That's my number one. I
That's
work. Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
even when
Yeah.
yeah, I feel so strongly about this that whenever I have trouble making a decision, I just go back to, well, source is one. So it's a done deal.
Right. There you go. We're all going to get there eventually.
Mhm.
Now, Maureen, do people come to you and say, you look so young, you look so enlightened, you look so happy? And then do you say to them, it's because I'm connected to the divine? Do you tell people that?
I sometimes do. I don't always say it that way, but
Yeah.
I practice what I teach,
Right.
and I have been getting younger. It's true. Even I can see it in the mirror.
Mhm.
And that's pretty amazing to me. I'm perpetually amazed. Um, yeah. So now when people ask me, well, how old are you? I always say I'm ageless, because that reinforces this youthful place. And it isn't about youth as much as it is about we're just radiating so much light that
Yes.
you look younger. And I did an event in Mount Shasta, and one of the participants said she could hardly believe her eyes. She could see me in person, and I looked one way, and then when she saw me on camera, I looked like I was 10 years younger to her. And she took a picture because she was like trying to grok how I could look one way in person and then look so much younger on camera. And I think that that's also the energy that comes with me into the digital camera.
That is amazing. We got to go to commercial break. You guys, I'm here today with Maureen St Germain. This is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we'll be right back. Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and this is High Road to Humanity. And I'm here today with Maureen St Germain, and she's going to talk to us some more about the Ascension Institute. And because we were talking about how young she looks, and this is all connected, Maureen, right? Talk about this.
So the reason, the obvious reason is, we emanate so much light, and that's why we're able to retain our usefulness. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that I use and tools that I teach and share in the Ascension Institute, that's a small portion of what I do. But I will tell you that the more you feel good, the more you have, the inner side of you working, whether it's the physical inside or the spiritual inside, the younger you will get. And so a lot of what I have learned over the years and a lot of what I have done are a direct reflection of how I look now. The Ascension Institute is a year-long program. There's a very small group, 10 to 15 people. Last year's program was 15 people. And what happens is we spend time every week meeting and getting trainings from me. Everything on my website, all my trainings, all my courses, everything is all included. So it's a year where you have carte blanche on anything that we do. And that includes also, the other teachers that are going to be teaching. And the idea is, when you spend a year with the Ascension Institute, what happens is your whole mindset changes, your whole matrix changes, and you become a more evolved version of you. And the proof of it is, I've been offering this for 7 years, and every year, 95% of the people who take the class sign up for year 2. And the only reason why other people don't sign up is because they don't have the time. They can't give me that time commitment.
How much time does it take, like during the week? What do you have to commit to?
A week, we spend 90 minutes in person with me, and then you probably spend anywhere from a half an hour to an hour daily on assignments and projects. And then you also will want to take some of the classes that we offer. We encourage you to take those classes. I also give all the trainings. So when I'm out and about doing like an event like the Ascension program that Suzanne is doing in Sedona, those trainings then I share with that group. So even if they're not there, they still get that information. They get all the books, all the meditations. They get a full set of the essential oils, and we teach them how to use them. And that alone is profound, because when you get these blends and you have the opportunity to learn how to use them and how they work, it's mind-boggling how powerful they are. And I haven't shown you this, but you know, we talked about the oils and
Yeah, let me see, because I'm big in the oils. I use oils all the time.
these were channeled by Mary Magdalene.
I know you
And-
told me this.
And there's 24 of them. And, you know, we deliver them like this in a box. And then they come with a deck of cards, okay? Now the cards show all the product one by one. And so, for example, I can pick a blend for us right now.
Okay.
And this is called Exuberance. And the way we use it is we put a few drops on the hand, okay? And we warm it in the palms of our hands, and then we inhale like this. And then we look it up on the deck and we look up the.
That is cool. Can people just purchase this from your website, Maureen?
Yeah, yes, they can.
This is
And
cool.
so this is what the card looks like. Wait, let me get it in the light a certain way.
Okay. Yeah. Oh,
There we
okay.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this one, look at that. It says unhook from judgment and disappointment, moving into higher dimensional expression. And on the side of the card, it has the name in really big letters so that you can, you know, set up the deck alphabetical and that way you can find it right away.
Yeah.
And then there's a clearing statement that goes with it. And the clearing statement says, I'm releasing disappointment from my 4 lower bodies, because that's what judgment's about. It's disappointment. I'm releasing disappointment from my 4 lower bodies. I'm releasing old habits and useless forms of expression, and they reclaim my perfected body, mind, and soul.
That's nice.
Say that 3 times. And what people have reported is that they're having amazing, amazing experiences. And it always reflects what's going on right now. And, you know, we were talking so much in the last segment about judgment and how we fall into judgment over various things. You know, a classic example is, you know, you have a date with someone, you're going to meet them for lunch, and then they don't show up. So right away you move into judgment, especially if they've stood you up before. You love this person, they're charming, they're fun, you want to see them, but then at the same time, you're like, come on, you know, can't you even keep a date? And then you find out that their grandma is sick, and that's why they messed up. And your whole energy changes. Well, what if you assumed that they wouldn't do this to you? It's that they're the one that's the flake. Look at me with my necklace here. Anyway, so and to drive this point home, it's so easy to judge. And when you find yourself being confronted by someone who says, you know, blah, you're doing this, and you don't think you are, for you to say, you know, that I don't know why this has come up, and I will definitely explore it. You don't have to say, I'm sorry, but you do want to own it. You want to say, I don't know why this is coming up, but I'm definitely going to take this into meditation and see what I find. And long before I knew to teach people to do this, I was doing it on my own. So I show up for lunch with a friend once a week, and we make a date for noon, and I keep showing up around 12:15. Finally, she says to me, so when we make a date to meet at noon, you really mean 12:15? Now, in that moment, I was mortified because I like to keep my word. And
Right.
I didn't approve of myself doing that to her. But at the same time, I'd still been doing it all along, you know, 3 or 4 times.
Right.
So I said, no, actually, we should be meeting at noon. I will address this. Okay. And then I went into meditation and I asked, what's going on? And I was told, well, you're trying to get one more thing done before you leave your office. And I thought, yeah, well, why do I need to do that? And the answer is because your work is so important to you that everybody else's work is less important.
Yeah.
Which meant that I somehow had put myself above this friend, and I didn't want to do that. So obviously I was on time after that for everybody. And that was an important lesson for me, because people who are perpetually late don't realize that they're subconsciously sending the message, I'm more important than you.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true.
But I had the good fortune of having good guidance in my meditations. And so I'm sharing that knowledge with you. When something comes up and somebody calls you out on whatever it is, you don't have to agree with them. You don't have to accept it. You don't even have to say, I'm sorry. What you can do is say, you know, you may have a point here. Let me take this in. Let me contemplate. Let me think about how it makes me feel, and I'll get back to you. And what's amazing is when you do that, it's way more powerful than just saying, I'm sorry, because I'm sorry doesn't make you move, doesn't make you change. But when you
Right.
take it into meditation, then you'll change, because your guides, your inner guidance will give you that answer.
I love it. That's really good advice, because a lot of times people do that, and and you don't want to be judgy, but then on the flip side, people do need to look at themselves, and because none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. So I don't know. It's hard when other people judge what you do. Have you ever had anybody in your family? I'm just going to ask you this question. um, Judge what your work, what you do. Do you have anybody that says like it's really ooey gooey or weird, or
Well, my family grew
that
up, my kids and my first husband grew up with me being this way. And when we split up, then he called me a flake and a few other things. And at one point after the divorce, he looked at me and said, I no longer think you're a flake. And he was real proud of himself for saying this. And I'm thinking, that's what my reaction was the same as yours. Like, well, whatever, it doesn't bother me one way or the other. And that's the important thing. When your family criticizes you, it's your job to accept it. And, I had a stepfather who was very critical. And I remember visiting him, and I was with a boyfriend at the time. And I was introducing this guy, electrician. And first thing my stepfather said was, do you do the same stuff she does? And the boyfriend said, yeah, I do. But he looked normal. He had a normal job. He's an electrician. What do you do, right? And so it's not so weird anymore.
right.
Because frankly, we are ruling the world, and we are going to rule the world. And we're going to rule the world with our kindness, with our joy, with our fun, and I have so much fun. I'm in this amazing place of joy and gratitude and happiness. I had a cute conversation with I was at the gym, and I had a massage from the guy who also does some training with me at the gym. And he walked up to me. I was on the treadmill, and he said, keep working, just keep, stay on the treadmill. And so I turned to him and I said, I was in the bath for an hour last night, kind of bragging to him that I did what I was supposed to do,
Okay. Yeah.
Or kind of a thing. And he said, with Epsom salts?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. And then I said, was I supposed to add water?
Maureen, you're so
So
funny.
that's the kind of joy, it's like it just comes out.
All right, we're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have our last segment with Miss Maureen St Germain. This is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we'll be right back. Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and this is High Road to Humanity. And I'm here today with my friend Maureen St Germain, and we're talking about life and what it's like to be an intuitive. This work. You were talking about what it was like for you. I had the same thing with my ex-husband. That's why we're not married anymore. One of the reasons. But he never accepted my abilities, and my kids have always been, I have one daughter who's real acceptance of my abilities. The other one is just like, oh, mom, why do you do that psychic reading kind of stuff? And it's hard. It's hard to do what we do. Go ahead, talk.
Well, here's what I'll say is when she says to you, psychic, you can say, I'm not a psychic. I'm connected to the angelic realm. I work with the angels.
I do.
And then you can say, isn't that what you do in your work, in your spiritual work? Don't you pray to the angels?
Oh, and then she says, no, mom, I pray to God, because we've had this conversation too. And I said, no, I work with the angels, because I am, and don't even try to tell her I'm an angelic, being, let alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does she define God?
Yeah,
And-
she connects with God, and she says you don't need to connect with the angels. You don't know whether they are good or bad, mom.
Well, she's right. If you don't do your work, you wouldn't know. So see, that's the thing. When they say stuff like that to you, something, you're right. If you don't do your spiritual work, you wouldn't know. And thank God I'm doing my spiritual work. So you don't have to worry about me. That's
I
what
love it.
you agree, and then you explain why your position is what it is. And as far as talking to God, I totally agree. We all need to talk to God. We all need to talk to source. And we have intermediaries that help us understand. Otherwise, she wouldn't be going to a church, because the church is an intermediary. Otherwise, she can talk to God on her own at home on Sunday morning. And she probably go to church. And if she's going to church, she's using an intermediary. Why do you need to go to church if you only talk to God? Why do you need to, do that? And the answer is because we all benefit from having association with the intermediaries. And plus, what are the angels are supposed to do? The angels are the miracle workers of God. God created the angelic realm. And when he created humans, after that, he assigned a group of them, not all of them, but a group of them, to come to earth to assist us in remembering how much God loves us. And their number one job is that, and working miracles. And that's why we call on the angels to help us with our stuff that we need to get done when we're in trouble and we're scared and we need a miracle. There have been times that I've had like vitamins choking in my throat, and I'll call on the angels, and boom, I said
they're right there. Yeah.
So the fact is, we all need to be doing what your daughter says, talking to God. But you can say, look, when you stop going to church and talking directly to God, then tell me about it, and we can have another conversation. But right now, I'm using the angels as intermediaries because I belong to that clan, and you go to your church because you belong to that clan. And we're both doing what we're supposed to be doing.
You know what I think it is, Maureen? I think it's like mom is a little out there. It doesn't conform with the way things are supposed to be. I don't fit in the box. And that's hard. And that is, to me, that's really what this is. It's more than,
it's an embarrassment. Your mom's not normal. One time when I was visiting one of my sons, he said, you want to go to church with us on Sunday? And I said, sure, why not? So we go to church, and the pastor comes up to him and he says, who's this person with you? They want to be super friendly and invite you along.
Right.
And he said, oh, this is my mom. And he turns to me and says, and what do you do? And I'm a spiritual teacher.
I love it. Yay. And he said, welcome.
I don't remember what he said. I think I pretty much caught him off guard. But, the same thing happened when another one of my sons went to Vipassana. You know what that is, right?
No, I do not.
Okay, so Vipassana is sponsored by a number of Buddhist groups.
Oh.
And it's where you go for 10 days. And you're on minimal food, you like get bread and water for breakfast and soup for lunch, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then you're supposed to meditate for the whole time. So, for 10 hours a day, you're in silence, and you have a coach that works with you and meets with you and discusses with you, whatever.
Okay.
And I'll tell you two things about this. This is very cool. For anybody who wants to go on a retreat and you're on a low budget, Vipassana would be perfect because they never charge you, and they ask you to donate what you can afford. So if you don't have money but you want to go on a retreat, go for Vipassana. It'll give you a big gift. You can look it up online. It's called VIPA, Vipassana. Anyway, so the two things. So the lady who was giving my son a ride, we were supposed to meet at the co-op, and she was going to pick him up and give him a ride to the training, and she was going to. And so she turns to me and said, and what do you do? And of course I said, I teach meditation, which is hilarious, right? And then my son went directly back to college after this 10-day retreat after Christmas. And this is really cool. So I said to him, what was it like? Or what did you learn? Is there anything you can share with me of your experience? And he said, well, it's not something I would do again, but I learned that life is so sacred. It's always worthwhile. And he had this sense of inner awareness of how sacred life was that he got out of this 10
That's
days.
huge. That's huge.
Yeah. At age 20 or 21, it's very cool.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, when we have family that doesn't approve and you want to have a communication, or they want to have, some kind of conversation with you, first thing, and this is in the Bible, agree with thine adversary agree with thine adversary. So you do that first, and then you add your part. And that's how you get around it. And you validate them, you're enthusiastic about what they believe in, and then you hope that they'll be enthusiastic because it brings you happiness.
I know.
And there is no, even the people who are using the Bible, okay, that's an intermediary, just like the angels.
I know. It just
But
blows.
you now have more information.
Well, there's a lot of people who I've done readings for in the last, I would say, a couple of years, who've said the same thing to me, that they have family members who, don't believe, or it's made it difficult for them in their spiritual practices. Now, I think things are changing, but there is a great divide. You may have just like in my family, there may be one person that's real spiritual and then other people that are not. So then, there is that divide.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
People who are really plugged into source,
Right.
in the angelic realm, do not judge the other
Right.
way. It's only those people who want to be right because someone told them this is how it is. And they feel if they can convince you, that makes them right. And the truth is they have never bought it in the first place. Otherwise, they wouldn't feel the need to convert someone else.
You're right. Exactly. Because I don't judge. I'm like, okay, whatever. And that took a long time though, Maureen. I mean, to learn not to judge, I just want to be honest and say this. It took me a while, but I am to that point. And if I do, it's not intentional, but I'm pretty good about it now, not judging people, but it took a while.
Yeah. And I think we all go through that.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't easy to start. And then you start to look at things differently. Of course, this is a whole nother conversation. When you start to look at the world from a different perspective, then you don't judge, because it's like you don't say, oh my gosh, why didn't they come to lunch? Then you think, well, something obviously happened. You don't take it on yourself like, oh, this is something I did. You start to look at things a little bit different, but that takes time.
That's true. And I have a friend who is so hard on herself, but she's got to be replaying the voice of childhood, because, she said, I missed this appointment with my client. And I said, that happened to me yesterday. I was 20 minutes into the hour when I realized, oh my gosh, someone's waiting for me on Zoom. And of course, by that time they were gone, and I felt terrible, but
yeah,
what I tried to convey to my friend was, we all make mistakes. We all screw up. And rather than judging yourself or the situation, or to come up with some excuse, well, this happened or this happened, just to say, I missed the mark. I didn't remember, and that's okay. And, in astrology, they teach that the downtimes, like the Mercury retrogrades and the other retrogrades, are so that we can learn from our mistakes and grow. And, when you become a good pianist, you learn from making a mistake and the teacher showing you what to do.
True. Very true. And this is what we're doing in this game called life, huh? Make a little mistakes as we go. But that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn and we're here to grow. And you're one of our teachers. And I'm so glad you came here today to talk to us.
Thank
and
you.
talk to us about your new school and how exciting. So it's called the St. Germain.
So there's two things going on.
All
There's
right.
a year-long program that just opened for the
Okay.
fall program. So
Okay.
we take applications for, 6 months ahead of time, and
Okay.
interview people and go through a process. That's called the Ascension Institute. And that's on my website. You can look it up as the Ascension Institute.
And it's MaureenStGermain.com.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create an umbrella organization called the St. Germain Mystery School. And then all of the offerings are going to fall under that. The coursework that I teach, the coursework that other teachers teach, and all the trainings that we offer electronically are all going to fall under this umbrella. And that will be opening March 3rd. That's when we're announcing it to the world. So you have the inside scoop.
So excited for you. I'm really excited. Maureen is going to do an interview with me, and she's going to interview me. I'm just going to tell this real quick, and it's going to be coming up in the next month. So you guys will have to look for that and see. So we can give you guys some answers to some questions.
Dive deep with all this stuff.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get out of here for today. You guys, if you want a psychic reading or an angel reading, go to my website, nancyyearout.com. I'm pulling angel cards every day on TikTok and having so much fun doing it, you guys. Maureen, thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. You guys, everybody take care and God bless.
Connect the dots and keep the motion. Can achieve your goal. Let's hit the high road.
Hey, you guys, join me next week on The High Road for more stories filled with wisdom, love, and hope for our future. Have a fabulous week and know that by staying on the high road, you will make it to your destination. Visit my website, nancyyearout.com, where you can book a private session to learn how to tap into your own abilities. And check out my YouTube channel. It's Nancy Yearout's High Road to Humanity.
You can achieve your goal.